Hello, my name is Soggy Boy, and welcome back to another episode of Horrifying Creepypastas. Okay. Sesame Street Lost episode. I am writing this because I have to tell someone about it. It was the freakiest thing I have ever seen. To begin, I always have been interested in movies about nuclear war, from the 1950s until today. I ended up joining a forum about them. I won't tell you what forum. I don't want anyone to be able to find me on it. Or it. I don't want anyone else to ever see this, and especially never want to risk a child seeing it. Soon after joining, I become friends with another member. No, I won't even give you his screen name. As I said, I want to keep this from getting out. Well, last year he told me that he had done something for me and wanted me to give it to me. I have some disabilities to the point where I can't even have a driver's license. So I also live in an area with no public transportation. Because of this, we agreed to meet in a park in my town. When we did, he handed me a VHS tape. You read that right. In 2015, it was a VHS tape. My lord. Luckily, or maybe I should say unluckily, I still have a late 1990s ERA 1990s era VHS player. He told me he did not know the story behind it. It's just that it was made in late 1983, early 1984. He also said it involved the long-running children's TV show Sesame Street. I don't know why that was so hard to read. He didn't know if it was a sick joke, if the show tried to make something for kids about nuclear war. For some reason it was about something, or it was about something else. He left rather quickly. I can definitely say it was far too high of quality to be bootleg. Whoever made it either had access to the real studio of Sesame Street, or had a lot of money to make it look exactly the same. Anyways, I went home and decided to watch. I poured myself a beer and then went in, turned on the TV, and put the tape in the VCR. Immediately something was disturbing. The Sesame Street logo appeared and stayed up for a couple minutes. There was no normal intro. I stopped watching around 1982, but I saw it coming on when my parents babysat my younger cousins as late as about 1989. So I know I hadn't changed by then. There was no "this episode was sponsored by the letters of whatever or the numbers of whatever" or the sunny day song. It just went to a shot of the typical street setting. Then there was a flash of light and loud BOOM! Next there was a scene of cartoon human figures turning into skeletons. This is when things got worse. It started planning across what was normally seen Mr. Hooper's store had collapsed. That 1, 2, 3 buildings had some pieces missing. All the windows were shattered, and the building was on fire. All you could hear was the fires burning occasionally, a scream or moan. When it went past some ruined buildings, you could see skeletons and shadows on the walls. None of the human characters, Bob, Maria, Gordon, etc., were in this episode. Only Muppets. Were they all killed? Things continued to get worse. The scene panned to an alley with a trash can laying on its side. Soon Oscar the Grouch appeared crawling the street, obviously in pain. He then turned to the camera. His face was half burned. Cut to a cartoon. It was a 1950s duck and cover one. I don't know if it was an early PSA or only shown in the classrooms at the time. I didn't ask as I didn't want this getting out. But that was well before I was born. Would it have ever been before my mom could remember? Maybe even my dad? None of my grandparents were alive yet, and I wouldn't have asked them anyways. Next, I went to a dark room. Outside a broken window, you could see fires burning, and then the sound of sobbing came. The camera moved, and Bert was in Ernie's arms, obviously dead. Ernie sobbed in maybe a minute and then started hysterically bawling. Mercifully, it didn't last long. Next was another cartoon, this time a crudely drawn, unidentified city. An animated missile flew over and detonated. There were scenes of the city destroyed, including cars turning over, overpasses being crushed, etc. Much like the attack scene in the British 1980s nuclear war cartoon When the Wind Blows. This faded out and returned to the 123 building. The fires had mostly burned out, but now fallout was falling from the sky. The camera panned down through a basement room in a room below. Apparently, the building had a fallout shelter. In the room were some shelves, a table with a battery-operated lantern giving off light, with several chairs around. Sitting around the table were Cookie Monster, Harry, Prairie Dawn, and Grover. They had a combined look of shock, fear, sadness, and confusion. None made a sound. I swear this scene lasted more than 5 minutes, with no sound. It finally faded out. Next was back out on the street. Big Bird was lying on the road, moaning and asking for Mr. Snuffleupagus. The show never made quite clear, the show in general, not this episode, if Mr. Snuffleupagus, if he was real or a figment of Big Bird's imagination. This was bad. Some of his feathers were burned, while others had fallen out. He had vomited in the street. Mr. Snuffleupagus never showed up, and the scene was mercifully short. Next, there were those aliens who always tried to figure out what things were and usually got it wrong. The one who would say, yep, ha, ha. I don't know how to say that, Next was those aliens who always tried to figure out where things were and usually got it wrong. The one who would say, yep, ha, ha. They were out of the country and the mushroom cloud appeared. They were out of the country and saw the mushroom cloud appear. They were saying, no, not no. This is actually kind of difficult to read. They got into the flying saucer and took off. The last scene was back in the bunker. Cookie Monster went to a shelf and turned on the radio. There was at first static, and then the voice of Kermit the Frog. He sounded much more scared than I've ever heard him on there. The Muppet Show, the movies, or anywhere else. His voice every so often would break as he was trying not to cry. He said, "This is Sesame Street News. I don't know why I imagine, but our TV cameras don't work. I found an old radio, and I am using it. The city has been hit by an atomic bomb, and Sesame Street has been hurt bad. If you don't know, an atomic bomb is a really, really big and really bad bomb that can wreck a whole city. It also has something really bad called radiation, which can really hurt if you're near it. I cannot find anyone who knows anything more, but will get back if I can. Kermit, off." Cookie Monster switched the radio off. The scene then faded to black, and the normal credits rolled, with no sound or music whatsoever. I haven't watched this video since, as even at 42 years of age, it was too disturbing. What was whoever made this thinking? I haven't contacted the guy who gave it to me since. I keep the tape locked in a cabinet. There's no damn way I will ever let there be a chance of a child could see this. No way I will ever let there be a chance of a child. No way I will ever let there be a chance of a child could see this. Okay, I actually was going fucking insane for a moment, dude. And then I realized it is grammatically completely wrong. Don't try to contact me to ask me if you can watch it. No way. Or to ask me anything about it. For one thing, I don't know. For another, I wouldn't tell you if I did. So what did you think about this creepypasta? I honestly thought that it was pretty decent overall. It was pretty difficult to read because there were a ton of crazy grammatical errors, and I wanted to read it pretty much blindly. But, yeah. As for the episode itself, I actually really like the way it's detailed, and the way it tries to portray the emotions that these characters are going through in a nuclear war. And so yeah, and I feel like that's like the meat and bones of the creepypasta, so that makes me like it a good amount overall. However, the one thing I really don't like about this creepypasta, honestly, is the constant mentioning of like, oh, I don't want to get this out in any way, but I do have to tell somebody about it because it was the freakiest thing I've ever seen. That kind of just contradicts the story in itself existing, and it just made it feel weird. But yeah, overall, decent creepypasta. Anyways, see you next time.